JP Morgan has capitulated. They are now moving to public blockchains after years of using their own private networks. They're going to use Ondo and Chainlink. I'll give you the details. And Lyft, the ride-hailing app, they're going to integrate Solana-based Hivemapper. This is huge adoption news. And we have incredible updates around stablecoin legislation and a vote that may happen very soon, maybe tomorrow. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, welcome into the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. I'm your host, Tony Edward. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button as well as the thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Spotify or Apple, please leave a 5-star rating and review. Folks, we have huge news around JP Morgan, the world's largest bank, America's largest bank, and this is a massive capitulation. Let me set the table here. Jamie Dimon for years has been saying crypto, Bitcoin is a scam going back to 2017 as Bitcoin started taking off. But secretly, they were invested in Kinexys and helping Kinexys to build Ethereum. Eventually, JP Morgan launched a private version of Ethereum called Onyx. And on that, they built their JPM coin, a stablecoin. But this was all in a private network, a walled garden. So no one trusted and no one wanted to use it. Now they have capitulated. They have opened their gates to public blockchains. And we saw many firms over the years who tried to create private chains learn their lesson that they have to go to public, even IBM with Hyperledger and much more. So let me read the headline for you. JP Morgan's Kinexys connects with public blockchain on Ondo Chain testnet debut. So they've rebranded Onyx to Kinexys. This is a recent thing. And the fact that they're plugging into a public blockchain like Ondo is incredible. Where's Jamie Dimon? Where's JPM coin, right? It's incredible, folks. So let me give you the details. JP Morgan took its first step onto a public blockchain network through its Kinexys digital payments platform, settling a tokenized US Treasury transaction on Ondo Chain's testnet. The pilot, detailed in a press release shared with Coinbase, marks the debut of a delivery versus payment transaction on the testnet, a new layer 1 blockchain designed to support institutional grade real world assets. So two major takeaways here. One, huge capitulation to public blockchains by the largest bank. And two, the continued move towards using blockchain for tokenization and much more. Do you see the direction everyone is heading in? Whether they're stock exchanges or banks or different financial institutions, everyone is heading to the same direction. It's what I've been telling you guys. The governments, the economies, and the markets will be running on blockchains. And we know who kicked this off from an institutional level, and that was BlackRock, the world's wealthiest asset manager. And the rest of Wall Street is following, and it's a big race now. Game theory is playing out. No one wants to be last. So Kinexys, which the release says processes an average of over $2 billion in daily transaction volume, handled the payment leg, while Ondo finances tokenized short-term treasury fund formed the asset leg. Chainlink runtime environment, a system for coordinating cross-chain workflows, secured the settlement across the two networks. Folks, many of you know I am very bullish on Chainlink. Many blockchains are using their Oracle technology, and I continue to hold Chainlink. I think it will do very well in this bull market. Now, I have not bought the Ondo token, but I am researching and I think I will add it to my portfolio. I'll let you guys know if I do. But this is very big adoption. And if JP Morgan is building on Ondo, that's a high vote of confidence, folks. So incredible news here. I hope you recognize how significant this is on multiple levels. It's a huge capitulation. It's huge adoption news. It's a big vote of confidence for Ondo and Chainlink. And as always, I'm diversified, so I hold different tokens. And this is just amazing news. If you have someone you know, a friend or a family, or even just a coworker, whatever it may be, who is still on the fence about crypto, send them this news. Ask them, why would the world's largest bank be doing this? Why are they building on a public blockchain that you can go buy the token for? Because some people are saying these cryptocurrencies and assets are scams. They're Ponzi's, right? Yet banks and the major financial institutions are building on them. Share this with those naysayers and skeptics. And hopefully, this is an awakening, an enlightenment moment for them. Now, look at this news. This may be another one you may want to share. Lyft taps Solana's Hivemapper for real-time crowdsourced mapping upgrade. Now, Lyft, many of you know, is the ride-hailing app competitor to Uber. So there should be no question about what Lyft is. And Hivemapper is an incredible project. It's a deep-end project where it is allowing people to earn by mapping when they drive. And that is like a competitor to Google Maps, because Google Maps, they go around taking pictures, videos, and things like that. Well, that's what Hivemapper does, and it's built on Solana. So Lyft is looking to integrate this. Let me give you the details. BMaps, a project on Hivemapper, one of the largest decentralized physical infrastructure networks, DeepIn, focus on mapping data on Solana, shared Wednesday that it has teamed up with ride-hailing giant Lyft to provide them with more accurate mapping data. The move underscores the growing role of crowdsourced geospatial intelligence in the transportation industry. Folks, when I've been telling you we're headed to the token economy, I was not kidding, because you can participate in this and earn by simply driving around. And then you have these legacy firms and companies who are now tapping into this. And I'll give another example of DeepIn on the rise. Today, I interviewed the founder of ETH Network, and I'll be publishing that interview on Friday. And they are doing the same thing with mobile networks and wireless networks and telecom. They partner with AT&T and T-Mobile. Guys, I hope you see how this technology is on the rise. And yes, it's early. Yes, there has to be further iterations to fine-tune it and make it a lot better. But just like the dial-up days of the internet, the technology is in its infancy, early days, but it will mature and become much better. We'll go from dial-up to broadband to 5G. We will get there, and it's going to move a bit faster than that technology because we're building on better infrastructure, of course. But make no mistake about it, it will get there. And you, for the first time in history, had the ability to front run major banks and institutions, and you didn't have to be an accredited investor. And you could have been in any part of the world if you had internet connection, and you could have participated by being able to hold a token. There's never been anything like that in the history of the world. That's why this is an opportunity like never before. And I've often stated that these tokens are hard capped, and then you have liquidity coming from all over the world. And that gives this exponential factor, right? Unlike other assets, because there's so much liquidity that could come in, and you have that supply and demand economics playing out. So let me give you some more details. Hivemapper allows drivers to contribute to mapping data using AI-enabled dash cams that automatically detect and update real-time changes on roads, like construction zones or altered road signs, helping keep digital maps current and accurate. Here's a quote: "For mobility to actually work and for autonomy to become reality, maps can't be an afterthought. They need to be crowdsourced, live, accurate, and open," said Ariel Seidman, CEO and co-founder of BMaps, in a press release with Coinbase. "We're proud to arm a true innovator like Lyft with the constantly updated street-level spatial intelligence that enables their vision." So in BMap's case, contributors earn crypto rewards for collecting street-level imagery using Hivemapper cameras. This data is processed with AI to extract important features like road signs, lane markings, and construction zones, which are continuously updated on the platform. So folks, in full disclosure, I plan to integrate this. I want to test it out and be kind of like some of the early adopters and put it in my car and see how much tokens I earn and things like that. It's a great way to earn passive income, right? If I'm driving and doing what I got to do, why not? So this is really great. Although I think, if I'm not mistaken, you do have to buy the equipment. So there's an upfront cost, but in the long run, it pays off for itself. And of course, you make some nice returns there. So this is something I'm going to be looking into. And when I do, I will do some videos and show you guys what I'm doing and how I set it up and how I'm earning and much more. So stay tuned for that. But folks, do you see what's happening? This is just incredible adoption news. We are headed to that token economy, folks. Now, A16Z Crypto leads a $7 million round in KYD Labs that aims to transform the ticketing industry. Notice we're touching different industries here, right? The banking finance industry, the ride sharing or ride hailing industry, which is the taxi industry, of course, and now ticketing. So KYD Labs aims to put artists and venues in control with blockchain-based ticketing, boosting sales by 30%. Now, a couple of takeaways. If you see A16Z investing in a project, you got to pay attention. I've often stated, watch what the big hedge funds and VC firms are doing, where they're putting liquidity, because those tokens can potentially do well. And I say potentially because this is not the only factor. You got to look at tokenomics. You got to look at tokenomics, release schedules, adoption, and much more, because not everything will be a winner. But, if you're early to a token, it can do really well and you can ride the wave with the VCs. So venture capital firm A16Z Crypto led a $7 million seed round for KYD Labs, a blockchain-based ticketing platform. KYD Labs aims to give artists and venues control over ticket sales, fan data, and revenue, addressing issues of lost revenues. The platform, built on Solana, allows fans to purchase tickets quickly and plans to expand to over 100 US venues by 2026. This is a project I'm going to be looking at because, like I've been telling you guys, I'm not only looking for this bull market, but the future bull markets, right? So I'm talking about when the bear market hits 2026 and then we bottom out in 2027, I'm going to look to buy these tokens, especially as I see the adoption with real companies and, VCs backing it. And I'll tell you guys, hey, look, I'm adding KYD to my profile. I'm adding this to my profile. That's why you're subscribed to this channel, so I can share some of these insights with you, especially those of you who are new and even those of you who are seasoned. I know you come for the interviews and the news as well, because there's a lot happening. So I hope to consolidate that for you folks and aggregate it and, of course, break it down so it's easy to understand. So we're seeing some incredible adoption news here. This is really great. Now, folks, quick word from our sponsor, and that is Trezor. Trezor makes beautifully crafted hardware wallets that make it easy for you to safely store your crypto. I'm a user of the product. I use the Trezor Safe 5, and it is a beautiful device and it's easy to use. And Trezor, they were the pioneers in creating hardware wallets. They started doing this in 2013, and their hardware wallets are open source. And folks, they support a variety of tokens, all the big tokens. I'm talking Bitcoin and all the top altcoins, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, much more. They even support new tokens like BlackRock's BUIDL token. And they have a software suite that helps manage all of this. They also have a hand-holding service, so they can help you onboard. You can speak to a Trezor rep who can help you set up your device, and they'll walk you through and answer all your questions. And folks, many of you know I'm a big advocate of self-custody. I've been saying it for years. Don't keep your crypto on the exchanges. Keep the majority of it on hardware wallets, protect yourself, and back up your seed phrases and much more. So I practice what I preach, and I use my hardware wallets. And if you use the code Thinking Crypto, all one word, you can get 5% off purchasing a device. So if you'd like to learn more, visit the link in the description. All right, moving ahead, we got some updates here from Ripple. They said Ripple's president, Monica Long, had the honor of meeting with His Highness Ahmed bin Saeed at the Dubai FinTech Summit. They said, we continue to be impressed with the leadership demonstrated by Dubai as it establishes itself as one of the world's leading hubs for digital assets. And what they're looking at is updating the digital payment infrastructure, so integrating blockchain and crypto. So you just see Ripple making some big chess moves here with their acquisitions, working with different central banks and governments around the world. And obviously in the United States, President Trump has been in the Middle East and meeting with different people, getting huge investments from Qatar and other folks. So you kind of see the bridges being built here, right? And smart move with Ripple by, positioning themselves in the midst of all of this. So pretty incredible. And also today, the CME Group said, mark your calendars and get ready to expand your crypto portfolio with XRP futures starting May 19th. So very soon, it's what I've been saying. The futures have to go live, and of course, they got to come from the CME. CME is the king of the hill, the golden standard when it comes to futures. That's what the SEC wants to happen. But as I stated in yesterday's podcast, the SEC needs to see a large enough sample size. Just because it goes live on May 19th doesn't mean they're going to approve the spot ETFs the next day or the next week. They probably want to see months of the activity and what's happening, just like they did for Bitcoin and Ethereum. And as we all know, the SEC's deadline is in October of this year. And I've been mentioning it could signal the top of the market when this is approved, and as well as crypto legislation coming in. We could see all that stuff, and that will signal, kind of the top zone. So we'll keep monitoring the charts and seeing where we're at, and watch for all these things, because I'll remind you, you want to walk away from this bull market with money in your pockets. I've been through a lot of bull and bear markets, and the bear markets are bloody, and you always kick yourself. Man, wish I took profits. Now, look, some of you may not need the money. You're like, I'm going to hold till 2030. That's fine. But if you are looking to take profits, you need to have a plan. You need to pay attention. So this message is for those who are looking to make money in this cycle. Now, look at this news. The Blockchain Association recently announced that their CEO, Kristen Smith, was stepping down. And now they have announced a new CEO. But look who it is, a CFTC commissioner, Summer Mersinger, who will be stepping down from her current position as commissioner on May 30th and will start with the association on June 2nd. And that's a very big move here. And that will really help the Blockchain Association as lobbying continues and much more. So really interesting and big move here for the Blockchain Association. Now, Eleanor Turret is reporting the following on stablecoin legislation. She says a bipartisan group of senators is close to arriving at consensus on the Genius Act. So that's Senator Haggerty's stablecoin bill in the Senate, of course. So they are close to arriving on a consensus on the Genius Act text that could allow the process to move forward after days of intensive negotiations that restarted Monday following last Thursday's failed vote. Text has not been finalized yet. However, Senate leadership is discussing the procedural path forward to resume consideration of the Genius Act, including the amendment process and a motion to reconsider. The goal, which is subject to change, is to potentially hold a final vote before the Memorial Day recess and ahead of the reconciliation process, though the timeline could slip depending on whether a process agreement can be reached with Democrats. So many of you know that last week I reported Maxine Waters walked out, some Democrats walked out, and it was a bit messy, right? But, as we've talked about, and I had Ron Hammond of the Blockchain Association on, the political process can oftentimes get very nasty, and there's a lot of mudslinging, and, there's this saying, when you don't want to see how the sausage is made, right? So this is par for the course. They do this with almost every bill. So it looks like they're making some progress and they're coming to some resolution. This is very good because President Trump gave the mandate that Congress needs to have these bills, the market structure and the stablecoin bill, on his desk before the August recess. So great to see some movement here. And in fact, Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong was on Capitol Hill today. He tweeted the following and posted a video. I'll play the video for you, but here's what he said. It's time to get stablecoin legislation passed to create clear rules for crypto in America. 52 million Americans have used crypto and want to see regulatory clarity. Let me play the video for you.
Hey y'all, I'm here in DC today trying to help get legislation passed for crypto. There's a big vote for the stablecoin bill coming up hopefully tomorrow. That's going to be a big important one. And then we're going to move on to market structure legislation, which is even more important. We've been meeting with members of the Senate on both sides of the House, and there's a lot of good excitement about getting this done. Like any good negotiation, there's a lot of details to work out at the last minute, but we've been stressing the urgency of this. There's 52 million Americans who want to see this legislation get passed, and we need to make sure the industry stays on shore here in America. It's also Stand With Crypto Day. Stand With Crypto invited over 60 founders to come meet with their elected representatives to underscore this message as well. So fingers crossed, it's an exciting historic moment. Let's see if we can get some legislation passed.
So there you have it, right? Great to see folks in the industry out in DC helping to push things along, but also keep Congress accountable and making sure they put the right things in those bills. We got to be careful. And, from what I heard from Ron Hammond of the Blockchain Association, there's a lot of folks in the industry weighing in, the lobbying groups such as the Digital Chamber and the Blockchain Association and others are making sure these bills have the right things and Congress gets it right. So guys, I'm very optimistic we will get this done this year. And like I said earlier, it could happen and signal the top of the market, right? Along with altcoin ETF approvals. So let's watch it closely. Bullish in the long term, but in the short term, because our goal is to walk away with profits, We're going to watch all these things closely. We're going to watch the charts, the on-chain data, all the stuff I've been sharing with you guys on the podcast, as well as in my newsletter. So folks, that's the news. Let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts and comments below. A great way you can support me and the podcast if you appreciate this content is to subscribe to my free email newsletter. It's 100% free. Link will be in the description. Check out my book on Amazon. It's available in paperback and digital. And check out my course at mycryptocourse.com. This is a comprehensive course that teaches you every aspect of crypto. Best of all, what makes it unique, it features expert commentary. No other course offers that. You will hear from founders, CEOs, and institutional investors breaking down the different aspects of crypto. You will get videos, full text write-ups, as well as downloadable materials. You pay a one-time fee. You get lifetime access. Go at your own pace. And you can share the login with your friends and family if you want. So if you'd like to learn more, please visit mycryptocourse.com. Folks, thank you for watching and listening. I appreciate you all, and I'll talk to you all later.